They really don't want you to know about Lexie Hull. The WNBA establishment, the media machine, and all those so-called experts who decide who's important and who isn't, they've all come to a consensus: act like she's invisible. While they're busy crafting narratives around the flashier names, the most fundamentally sound, clutch, and winning player in the league is being treated like a ghost. But here's the thing they can't cover up. The stats don't lie, and they're practically shouting Lexie Hull's name at the top of their lungs. She boasts the fourth highest three-point percentage in the entire WNBA. Not just fourth among rookies, not just fourth among guards, fourth in the whole league. And somehow, she's never even come close to an all-star selection. This isn't just oversight, this is systematic erasure of excellence. April 11th, 2022. What a day that was. It was the WNBA draft, and the so-called experts were already writing off Lexie Hull. They had her slotted as an afterthought for the second round. Maybe pick 25, maybe pick 30, or perhaps she'd just slip away entirely. This was a girl who just helped Stanford clinch a national championship, scored 36 points in a single NCAA tournament game, and boasted a career three-point shooting percentage of nearly 40%. Yet somehow, they deemed her unworthy of a first-round pick. Really? Then came the surprise. Indiana called her name at 6th overall. But here's the twist. Indiana wasn't making a gamble. They knew exactly who they were getting. They told her they wanted a player who couldn't stand to lose, who fought for every possession, who could shoot like a star. They were drafting a winner, not a project. They were simply too blinded by their own biases to notice. Let me take a moment to illustrate what true greatness looks like when no one is paying attention. From August the 6th to August 28th, 2024, in just 5 games, Lexie Hull nailed an incredible 70% from beyond the arc, and that was on at least 20 attempts. Can you guess who else has pulled that off in WNBA history? We're talking about legends like Dawn Staley, Cynthia Cooper, and Elena Delle Dunn. That's it. Only 4 players in the entire history of the league, and one of them is this so-called second-round talent that hardly anyone wants to discuss. For the whole 2024 season, she boasted a remarkable 47.1% from three-point range, placing her second in the entire WNBA. Second, not just among rookies or guards, but second in the league overall. She was a mere 0.3% shy of leading the entire WNBA in three-point shooting. Can you believe that? Yet, when it came time for All-Star voting, her name didn't even make the cut. They found spots for players who were shooting 20% worse from deep, but somehow, Lexie Hull didn't get the recognition she deserved. What really sets winners apart from those who just wish they could win? It's when the pressure is at its peak, and everything is on the line that true champions shine. Take Lexie Hull, for instance. She's been on the rise her whole life. At Central Valley High School, she wrapped up her senior season with a perfect 29-0 record, clinching the state championship and earning the title of Tournament MVP. Not a single loss to her name. Then there's her time at Stanford University, a national championship, a spot on the Final Four All-Tournament team, and standout performances like 18 points and 13 rebounds against South Carolina in the Final Four, followed by 10 points and 10 rebounds in the championship game against Arizona. When Stanford needed her the most, she came through with a double-double on the biggest stage in college basketball. And just this year, she led Rose BC to an unrivaled championship. Winning is just in her DNA. But somehow, in the WNBA, where winning is supposed to be everything, her championship experience seems to count for nothing, her ability to perform under pressure is overlooked. The same player who dropped 36 points in an NCAA tournament game and racked up double-doubles in consecutive Final Four games suddenly isn't seen as clutch enough for the pros. The numbers just don't add up. Unless, of course, there's something else going on. Had you ever wondered why Lexie Hull doesn't get the celebration she deserves? It's simple. She makes everyone else look bad. And I'm not just talking about her performance on the court. This extends to every aspect of her life. She's an Elite 90 award winner, which means she has the highest GPA of all the players at the Final Four. While others were focused on making shots, Lexie was busy sinking baskets and keeping a perfect 4.0 GPA. She's a 2-time academic All-American and was named the Pac-12 Scholar Athlete of the Year, not to mention winning the Senior Class Award. This isn't just any basketball player we're talking about, this is the whole package. She's the kind of role model the WNBA should be showcasing on billboards. Instead, they seem to prefer keeping her in the background because, let's face it, smart, accomplished, and fundamentally sound basketball doesn't attract attention like drama and controversy do. It's a shame they'd rather promote chaos than celebrate true excellence. They'd rather shine a light on dysfunction than highlight a player who embodies everything that's right about women's basketball. Athletes. Unlimited Defensive Player of the Year. Not just any year 2023, competing against current and former WNBA players, and she was the best defender in the entire league. Two-time Pac-12 All-Defensive Team selection in college, AU All-Defensive Team again in 2024. This is a player who has been recognized as elite defensively at every single level she's played, and yet somehow, the WNBA narrative machine can't find space to mention her defensive impact. Why? Because lockdown defense doesn't trend on social media. Forcing turnovers doesn't generate highlights that go viral. Smart rotations and help defense don't make SportsCenter. They want flashy steals and emphatic blocks, not the cerebral, fundamentally perfect defensive basketball that actually wins games. Here's where the bias becomes undeniable. 2025 WNBA All-Star Game. Lexie Hull, 4th highest three-point percentage in the league. No All-Star selection. Let that sink in. The 4th best three-point shooter in the entire WNBA didn't make the All-Star team. Players with worse shooting percentages, worse defensive numbers, and fewer winning credentials got selected over her. When Caitlin Clark got injured and couldn't participate in the three-point contest, who did they call? Lexie Hull. As a replacement. The 4th best three-point shooter in the league was good enough to be called in as a last-minute replacement, but not good enough to be an all-star in her own right. She competed against Sabrina Ionescu, Alicia Gray, Sonia Citron, and Kelsey Plum, all all-stars. All of them. Except Hull was there as the lone non-all-star participant. The lone non-all-star, despite having better shooting numbers than half the field. When Indiana finally made the playoffs for the first time since 2016, who was in the starting lineup for both postseason games? Lexie Hull. When the pressure was highest, when every possession mattered, when the Fever needed their most reliable players on the floor, there she was. She started the final 10 games of the regular season and both playoff games. Think about that. When it was time to win or go home, the coaching staff trusted her more than anyone else in that backcourt rotation. But you won't hear about that in the media coverage. You won't see that highlighted in the playoff recaps. They'll talk about everyone else's contributions while glossing over the player who was deemed trustworthy enough to start when everything was on the line. Here's what the basketball world actually thinks of. Lexie Hull, Nike wants her. Athleta wants her. Forum Basketball made her a brand ambassador alongside Paul George, because they recognize elite shooting mechanics when they see them. Corporate America knows talent. They're not spending marketing dollars on players who can't deliver. They're investing in Lexie Hull because they see what the WNBA establishment refuses to acknowledge. She's one of the most fundamentally sound, marketable, and successful players in the league. Sweet Green, Lightbox Jewelry, Athleta's Power of She Collective, alongside Simone Biles and Katie Ledecky. These brands aren't making mistakes. They're recognizing excellence while the basketball media sleeps on it. His isn't just about one player. This is about a legacy. Growing up with an identical twin sister, competing on the same teams, pushing each other every single day on that driveway in Liberty Lake, Washington. Family friends talk about the intensity of those pickup games, the way the Hull sisters elevated each other through pure competition. Not in fancy facilities or with expensive trainers, but in the daily grind of never settling, never backing down, never accepting anything less than perfection. Lacey chose the corporate world. Lexie chose professional basketball. But they both chose excellence, and that foundation shows every time Lexie steps on the court. Let's end where we started, with numbers that don't lie. Career 38.1% field goal percentage, 34.3% from 3, 80.6% from the free throw line. Consistent, reliable, efficient, never the best, always among the best, constantly improving. But here's the number that matters most, starter in 29 of 56 career games. When coaches need wins, they turn to Lexie Hull. When games are on the line, she's on the floor. When championships are at stake, she delivers. The most underrated player in the league? It's not even close. It's not even a debate. It's Lexie Hull, and it's been Lexie Hull from the moment she was shockingly drafted 6th overall to right now, as she continues to prove every single night that excellence doesn't need recognition to be real. They can ignore her all they want. The scoreboard won't.